The sky above the ruined kingdom was heavy with smoke. Ashes floated like tired snowflakes drifting slowly to the ground, covering broken stones and silent streets. The once bright banners of the realm had long burned away, leaving only blackened walls and echoes of what had been. Amid this silence, a young woman walked, her pale dress brushing against the ground, gathering soot like a veil of mourning. Her name was Alira. She had been raised with dreams of sunlight, laughter, and gardens filled with roses. But dreams rarely survived in lands swallowed by fire. For years the kingdom had lived under the shadow of the Ashen Lord, a warrior both feared and cursed. They said his very breath carried the scent of burning. They said no heart could beat inside a man who had walked through flames and returned unchanged. And yet, fate had named Alira as his bride. The night of her binding was neither grand nor joyful. No golden halls, no music, no guests, only a ruined courtyard, dimly lit by embers floating in the air. She stood there trembling, her hands folded tightly against her chest while he appeared from the smoke. His armor was dark, etched with scars of battles no human should have survived. A heavy cloak trailed behind him as if woven from night itself. He stopped before her, towering and silent. His eyes, shadowed beneath his hair, did not shine like other men's. They carried the glow of smoldering coal, deep and unending. Alira's heart thudded painfully in her chest. "I am not ready," she whispered, her voice shaking like a candle flame in the wind. The Ashen Lord tilted his head, studying her. For a moment she thought he might laugh or dismiss her words. Instead, his hand, clad in blackened steel, lifted slowly and touched her chin. The gentleness of that gesture startled her more than any roar of fire could. "You think I asked for this?" His voice was low, rough, as though shaped by years of smoke. "The chains that bind you bind me as well," she blinked. "Chains?" He stepped back, the embers swirling around his cloak. "This curse, this throne of ash, do you imagine I chose it?" His words carved into her silence. She had been told stories of monsters, of a tyrant who brought ruin. But standing before her, she did not see a monster. She saw a man carrying a weight too heavy for one soul. Still, fear lingered. Days turned into nights and nights into days. Alira remained in the silent castle, where shadows clung to broken walls and the scent of smoke never left. The Ashen Lord, whose true name she dared not speak, was a figure of distance. He rarely spoke, rarely came near. Yet she noticed things. How he never slept, how he stood at the highest tower for hours, gazing at lands long turned to wasteland. And sometimes in the depth of night she heard his voice, soft, aching, whispering names to the darkness. Names she did not know. One evening, as she wandered through the courtyard, she found him there, kneeling beside the remnants of a scorched tree. His armored hand brushed against its bark as if it were something precious. "What was this place?" she asked, her voice barely above the whisper of the wind. His gaze lingered on the tree. "A garden," he said, "the last in the kingdom. It burned the night I became this." Alira stepped closer. She touched the blackened trunk with her bare fingers, feeling the cold ridges of wood. "And do you regret it?" His shoulders stiffened. For a long moment he said nothing. Then finally he breathed out. Every day. That night, when she lay awake on the cold bed of stone, she thought of him differently. He was not simply the destroyer. He was a man scorched by fate, trapped in a story written by fire. Still, the people's whispers echoed in her mind. Bride of Ashes, they called her. They believed she would vanish, consumed like all else that neared him. Weeks passed. Alira began to notice how he avoided her touch, as though his hands carried a curse that might harm her. He kept his distance even in silence, but one night, as storms of ash swirled through broken windows, she dared to approach him. "You cannot live like this forever," she said, her voice steady despite her trembling. His eyes flickered toward her. "And what would you have me do? The world is already ash. My name is already cursed." She shook her head. "But I am still here." Silence. Long, heavy silence. Then, with a suddenness that startled her, he rose and crossed the room. His cloak trailed behind like a wing of smoke. He stopped so near that she could feel the warmth of his presence, like standing beside a fire that might burn, but might also comfort. "Do you not fear me?" he asked. Alira swallowed. "I did, but fear fades when you see the truth." He searched her face as though her words were a key to something locked within him. For the first time, his hand reached for hers, unarmored, bare. His touch was warm, almost painfully so, but gentle. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them, an understanding, fragile yet real. From that night, a quiet bond grew. They spoke more often. He told her stories of battles fought, of choices that led to ruin. She told him of childhood memories, of dreams she once carried. Slowly, laughter returned, soft, hesitant, but real, and yet the curse lingered. One dawn, the ground shook with tremors. A shadowed army rose from the ashes, creatures born of flame, bound to the same curse as their master. They demanded the Ashen Lord's loyalty, demanding he surrender the last light he carried. Elira. You must give her to us. The creatures hissed. She will burn as all things burn. Elira stood frozen, her heart pounding. But before she could speak, the Ashen Lord stepped forward. His cloak spread wide like wings of night, his voice a roar of fire. No, she is mine. Not as possession, but as vow. I will not let the curse claim her. The battle that followed was fierce, fire against fire, shadow against steel. Elira watched, her hands clasped tight, as he fought not with the rage of a monster, but with the desperate strength of a man protecting the only piece of light he had left. At last, the creatures fell, their forms dissolving into embers, but victory came at a cost. The Ashen Lord collapsed, his armor broken, his body trembling with wounds that burned from within. Elira rushed to his side, tears streaking her soot-stained cheeks. Do not leave me, she whispered, clutching his hand. His eyes, dim yet still glowing faintly, met hers. The curse. It will take me. But you— No, she said firmly, her voice trembling but fierce. If you burn, then I burn. If you are ash, then I will be ash too. I will not let you face this alone. For the first time, his expression softened into something almost human, almost free. A faint smile touched his lips. And then something shifted. The embers swirling around them slowed, their glow softening into silver light. The fire within his chest dimmed, not into nothing, but into warmth. The curse that had chained him broke, not with force, but with love. He gasped, drawing in a breath not of smoke, but of clean air. His armor crumbled away like dust. What remained was a man, scarred, weary, but alive. Elira's tears fell onto his skin. She touched his face, and this time he did not pull away. The kingdom was still in ruins, the skies still gray. But in the silence of that moment, hope stirred. For ash, though it marks what is burned, is also the soil where new life can grow. And so, in the heart of ruins, the bride of ashes and the Lord once cursed stood together, not as chains, not as shadows, but as two souls bound by fire transformed into light.